Hello guys, and here's one of my tattooing videos. I decided to be making some of these, so as you can see, I got through the hilt before I decided maybe I should set up a camera rig and record myself finishing the rest of the work. The hilt itself wasn't a big pain in the ass. The needle itself wasn't getting a whole lot of penetration in the arm. I just have to be really aggressive and push really deep. And yes, go over my lines multiple times. I got my little Ghetto rig there to hold my ink. That there is the tattoo machine itself. Now, what exactly possessed me to tattoo a sword onto my body?
Because I got swag, I wanted to make it look good.
Well, I probably just had Rose's scabbard rolling around in my mind from Steven Universe. It was something that kind of popped up in my head. I always really liked the design of this. Swords that kind of have that curved off or angled off edge. And when something comes up in my head, I just kind of run with it. And I actually really like the shape of the blade, so I decided to go ahead and make something similar and tattoo it on my skin. So I guess you can say that this was loosely inspired by Steven Universe. Since I'm using multiple needles, I'm not getting very good penetration throughout. So with a lot of the tattoos that I have done with these needles, I had to go over the work a couple times. Now thankfully, because the needle wasn't going deep enough, I actually didn't have any problems with the tissue itself becoming too bloody or getting too scarred up. In fact, the final tattoo didn't end up having any blood marks. So I really wasn't going deep at all with this. Hence why I kept having issues with the lines coming out gray rather than bold and black. Now what I could have done is actually made a new grouping of needles. But that would have been me having to trim a bunch of wire, grind it down to have a fresh new point. But I'm a very impatient kind of person. And when I want to do something, I typically just want to do it right away. But this grouping of needles isn't too bad. I really just gotta push real deep and unfortunately go over my work a couple times. When you're not using legit equipment, I mean, this is just something you've got to expect to come across. And actually, that's a problem I've been having with a lot of the multi-needles that I've been trying to use. I'm using 6 needles bundled up in a pentagram kind of shape. Mostly so I can tattoo a bold line onto myself, not having to go over it with a single needle. Because that can actually be kind of, because that can actually get pretty messy. You really just want to get a single line in, a one and done. You don't want to go over the work. You definitely don't want to go back and forth like you're about to see. And as for the hilt, it's actually not in line with the sword whatsoever. So I decided to shade on the outside of the hilt, work my way inward, and on the opposite side, shade inward and work my way outward, to sort of just kind of bend the way that it kind of looks, to cover up the fact that it isn't straight, which, since I'm starting out, really doesn't bother me a whole lot. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into when you decide to tattoo yourself. As you can see, the outside and the edge itself is somewhat coming out, but the blade where it curves in didn't come out, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and give that a once over. In fact, I went over this about 2 more times I didn't include in the video because I didn't want to bore you guys to tears. But this is the final attempt right here. And in this attempt, I'm literally pressing the machine right up against my skin and dragging it across. Just any desperate attempt to hopefully have a tattoo by the time this is all done. A solid, complete tattoo. I've got the adjuster cranked back so that when the needle is all the way into the gun, it's still poking out just a tiny bit. That's something that I want to avoid, just so I'm not scraping a needle across my skin. But things are getting kind of desperate, and I really wanted to make sure that this thing was going to come out in general. Not come out clean, not come out even or consistent, just I want there to be a tattoo by the end of this whole experience. And like the last one, I'm going to go ahead and just give this all a once over. So there you go, I've just about finished all my lines. It's looking pretty good. My arm was feeling really great, so I know that I probably had a good chance that this was going to stick. And I decided to let the ink sit on my skin for about an hour or two before actually washing it off. All of it just being one huge giant desperate attempt to salvage this tattoo in any way possible. So now let's see how it did. Well, honestly, I can't say that I'm in any way disappointed with how it came out. I might have to go over it a couple times. I might have to make the lines a little bit bolder to hide the imperfections. But overall, I think it came out pretty great. And I'm actually thinking about shading it in with some blue ink that I tried to make. I'm a little iffy on that because it's probably not going to come out the way I think it will, considering that I'm using watercolor to make ink. But this is all just an experiment for me. And in the future, I'll definitely have some actual equipment with real ink. But until then, I'm just treating this as a simple hobby, not investing too much time or money into it.